This is Bliss Oasis. Change your thinking, change your life.
And the door was closed. We were ready for takeoff, just ready for takeoff. Then the pilot announced a delay. There's going to be a short delay. So I was asking myself, what? I was nervous. I was looking at the back of the plane at the toilet. Shall I run, lock myself in there? I've known what Kenya security people do. And then, worst of all, GSU Land Rovers surrounded the plane all of a sudden. Even my contacts were alarmed. They were alarmed. Even the air hostesses of the South African Airlines, they were aware. They'd been made aware of my status.
Welcome again to Bliss Oasis Africa, part 2 of our interview with Argwings Odera, the guy we call Agrwings sometimes. And if you remember, Argwings, you were telling us about how some, if we may call them crooks, came looking for you for some reason. They didn't find you. I don't know where you are. Maybe you'll tell us. But they caught up with David McCulley because the story you had written had been published in Expression Today. And so they really, well, if we may use the word, worked on him in order to produce you, but he didn't know where you are. And he was telling you later that had he known, he would have directed them to the spot you are, whether you are hiding or whether you are whatever, we don't know. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, because David McCulley had been tortured, and we did not expect anything like that to happen because he'd been grabbed off the streets. And McCulley, I mean, it was just a natural reaction, and he told me, my friend, it's fortunate I don't know your residence. Otherwise, I would have brought them. These people were torturing me to reveal where you were. So the matter was on national TV, and I was alerted because after a newspaper is published or a journal is published, what we usually do, we relax. It's a bit like relaxing. There's no rush to the office or anything like that. Especially being a periodical, after we publish, usually it's the other staff, circulation, and administration who are usually left there. And Makali was running a very thin team, to be fair to him, with on a very small funding.
Yeah.
So, yeah, after that, we laid low, what we usually call lying low. I stayed away from the office for quite a while. And as a journalist, you cannot stay away for long. I just had to resurface. So he gave me space to write whatever I wanted to write. I had space because we agreed professionally. And that's when I started writing about an environmental story on the Sondu Miriu hydropower project. I wrote it, and it was a story revealing corruption, environmental degradation, poor environmental practices, lack of compensation or stolen money, compensated money that did not reach the beneficiaries, and the way of living. So after I wrote this, I saw Kenyan did not react at all. They chose to ignore the story. And then the other media outlets also started picking up. Then an NGO called International Rivers Network, having seen the story, also contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in a fact-finding mission and my budget. So I agreed. I approached the Africa Water Network. I asked the Africa Water Network people because they're very sharp in water issues. I asked them for more information. I went to Kenyan, asked for more information. I traveled to the ground, found more information. I published my report to the NGO, which was carried in their newsletter. And the NGO asked if I would be interested in an awareness program and what my budget is. And that's when trouble started coming out within the project. In one of our field trips with the two experts that the Africa Water Network had provided for me, we were arrested at Kindu Bay. Fortunately for me, I slipped. And the two of them were arrested and put in the Kindu Bay police station until I am produced.
Had the drug thing happened?
That was over. Now I was in another level. Now I was entering NGO level. Yes.
So after you resurfaced,
So
the guys who are looking for you on the drug story did not follow you.
because that story again was picked up by national media, and it was found
public
to have truth in it, and they, in Kenyan style, they decided to ignore, because in Kenya you ignore the news and back to business as usual after some times. So it was quite revealing. However, the report earned me awards, 2 awards, one KUJ Investigative Journalist of the Year, another International Committee for Investigative Journalists. I was a runner-up in the global competition for Investigative Journalists of the Year. So it was an international piece that I'd done. So after laying low, that's when I came back now to pick where I'd left. Because as a writer, you always have this itch to write, and there's no way I know how to make my bread except with my pen and paper. I've tried businesses, no way, and other things, fishing, no way. Yeah. So I came back and I did the Sondu Miriu thing. And having done the Sondu Miriu report, I followed it up now with the in-depth and the bigger support. So I was given support for first fact-finding after publishing my report of the fact-finding. I was asked if I was interested in an awareness campaign. Yes. Again, I was asked for my budget. And then when we started the awareness campaign where we were coming to the field, that's when my 2 colleagues got arrested in Kindu Bay after we'd done some field work in the Sondu area in Kisumu. We were lodging in Kindu Bay. That was our lodge. We'd go and sleep there, the 3 of us, each of us booking a room. Somewhere called the Big 5. So of course after work, men and so on, you'd hang out kidogo in a social gathering scenario. There were no social distancing then. That's when they were. And then when we were gathering, a villager saw me parking the car. It was at around 8 p.m. Preparing to enter the bar with my colleagues. So the villager approached me, greeted me, told me he was stranded. They'd missed the last bus. He, his wife, and his child. So they were going to spend the night and wait for morning. Well, nothing alarming. He's not alone. And that used to happen often because of poor infrastructure then. People would find themselves sleeping in the stage.
So was he asking for a lift or what?
Not at all, not at all. He was just happy to see me and saying hi and informing me they'll be leaving in the morning. And I said, no way, no. I have a car here. I'm dropping you home. Because he's my village mate, he's my neighbor. I told him, no way, I'm taking you home. I'm dropping you home. There's no way I'm allowing you to sleep in this cold with your wife and children, and I have a car. So I told my colleagues, you guys carry on. I'm going to catch up with you later. Let me drop this guy. So that's what I did. I left. I brought him in the village.
Yeah.
After bringing him in the village, it took me about 2 hours to bring him and go back. Then when I was approaching Bay, I saw some small groups of people on the road and waving me down, trying to tell me, stop, slow down, stop.
This was at night now. That was around...
Yes, at night now. It was now around 10 because I left in Dubai at around 8. So I was going back at around 10 to join my colleagues, having brought this family home. So that's when I was going back, I saw women and men waving at me to slow down as I was just approaching the town. So I slowed down, naturally, and they told me what had happened. That 2 of your colleagues have been arrested, they're in the cells, and it's you're being waited for.
Were these some of the villagers you had interviewed before?
No. These were colleagues I'd come with from Nairobi to help in the awareness campaign.
No, I mean the people who are stopping you. The villagers who are stopping you.
They were just village traders, people we'd be nice to. You have that policy, be nice to traders, be nice to these people.
Yeah.
So in return, they decided to forgo their sleep and try and stop me as I was driving. So I also stopped, wondering what is going on. Could it be an emergency? Because that kind of thuggery was kind of zero at that time in these areas. So they warned me not to go to the town, not to go to my usual lodging. The police were waiting to arrest me. They had arrested the two colleagues had come with from Nairobi with the Africa Water Network, and they were waiting for me at around 10. So what I did is I turned the car and drove straight to Kisumu. And then I went to the big Imperial Hotel. I had it was 1999. No, 1999, coming to 2000.
Yes, yes.
I was kind of technologically savvy because I had a cell phone, which was just emerging in those times. I was internet savvy, which was also another emerging issue there. So I drove to Kisumu, I went to the hotel, went to their business center, because I know if you want somewhere 24-hour, you can find, say, online services, even in an emergency. Usually our hotels, they have the business centers open 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I requested for the internet, I spread the alarm, and the next morning, because of the alarm I spread, including informing the media, the next morning they were released without charge, unconditionally. Yes.
So were they? Yeah. So were they arrested because of the story you were doing? I'm sure that was the reason.
No, they were being asked, what are we doing in the ground in our fact-finding mission?
Just that.
They want to know. Yeah, they want to know our purpose, our mission,
the police,
what we are doing. Yes, they are seeing us interviewing villagers.
Yeah, but then again, they must have been sent by the people behind the scenes.
Of course, yes, because before that we had spoken with the officials. The officials had even slaughtered a goat for us for lunch, which we rejected. Yeah, I told those people no.
All right. So yeah. Yes, so you did the Sondu Miriu. What else did you do? What other big story did you do?
Within this Sondu Miriu, things progressed until we entered an advocacy campaign where we were advocating for the project funds to be held first in coming until community members are paid, the environment is cleared.
Yeah.
There was a declaration issued. Then after that, Mwai came heavy on
declaration issued by whom?
By the community. By the community. Of course, I was a project leader, so I was helping them.
Oh, I see.
So one time around Christmas, when I came back home for Christmas in 2001, I decided to go visit also the affected community and see how their status is now that I'm home, because it's also my home area. So when I went there, that's when my car was blocked by two big trucks from Kengen and Konoike. They blocked my car, sandwiched me in the middle. I was giving, again, my nature, I was giving a certain mwalimu in the area lift because of the rough mountainous terrain.
Yeah.
That mwalimu was grabbed out of my car, kicked down, and I sensed danger. So I put my car windows up and I locked the car. So these Kenyan people, the Kenyan security and the Japanese people came out with guns, telling me,
with guns,
open or we shoot, open. Yeah, open or we shoot. I refused. Shortly, they were followed up by the local OCS. The local OCS was shortly followed by the OCS from Ahero and the OCPD and the top CID there. Quickly, they were followed by another reinforcement from Kisumu.
You mean
because
it's like
the villagers
it was like this? It was like the whole thing had been arranged. I mean, if they had to come,
had been arranged. Yeah, I've been nabbed, I've been grabbed, and then taken to the police. So orders had been issued from above. Those were the orders. Yeah.
No wonder they had the whole squad.
Yeah, they had everything. The personnel manager was a chariot who was an in-law to Moi also. So it was big. It was big. And those were some of the issues I was raising, that why can't they find an informed or enlightened member of the community to be in charge? Why are we importing somebody somewhere who can barely grasp even the basics of the language? And Chariot had also imported very many workers, and it was a problem, these imported workers, because they had nowhere to sleep, and the project had just started.
So what happened after you were arrested? You were taken over. You were arrested.
Yeah, I was
and
taken.
This was the last.
Taken
This was the first time you did manage. You did not manage to escape, because during
This was the first time.
because Pius Nyamora time you escaped, and then you escaped Makali, you escaped, and the first Sondu Miriu thing you escaped. But this time you were arrested.
Yeah. No, there's even a point in this Sondu Miriu, they arrested all Kisumu Reporters Nation, Standard, KTN, when we were launching the declaration. And again, they had to leave us immediately because they had beaten more than they could kill. The target was just me. So this time, when they got me, they took me to in 10 nights. I was transferred to about 5 police stations, because first
10
they took me to the local police.
10 nights.
10 nights. Yeah, I was being held in Communicado.
Almost 2 weeks.
First, they took me to the local police station, and then the local policeman said, no, this man has a lot of supporters. They might invade this police station, and I don't have the resources. So I was transferred to a hero. Then when I was transferred to a hero, my mom managed to get the word, so she came to visit me with other people. And she found I was in a bad condition because I'd been tortured, and I'd also been shot in the shoulder when they were arresting me, extracting me from the car. So after my mother's visit, I was transferred to Kisumu. From Kisumu, I was transferred to Maseno. Yeah.
So your mom found you in a bad condition?
Yeah, in Ahero. So they removed me from Ahero after a visit, took me to Kisumu police station. From Kisumu, and I was not being documented. From Kisumu, I was taken to Maseno. From Maseno, I was taken to Kericho. Kericho refused to admit me because I'd started going on a hunger strike. So I was returned to Maseno, and at Maseno, that's where my lawyer, Stephen Alwech Kopot, found me and insisted I be taken to court in Kisumu. And I was granted, from Maseno. I was taken to Maseno, and then my lawyer, Stephen Alwech Kopot, found me in Maseno and managed to drag me to court in Kisumu, insisting that his client had gone missing. Also, it came at the heels of a report in the Daily Nation that reporter goes missing, because my family had also contacted my colleague.
That was you
so
now.
It was also yeah. The day the Nation published that report is when they started going easy on me. When I came out, I had a bullet wound on my shoulder and broken arms. So I had to go and get treatment and be put in a cast. And then after that, we carried on with the campaign. And then it reached a point when information was leaked to us that there would be an attempt to grab me in the next court hearing. And I'll not be able to reach the court, and I would be harmed.
Wow.
So, yeah. I was having this conversation with the James Orengo, and I told James Orengo what was going on. And James Orengo said, the best way for you is to run. I told James, why should I run? And he asked me, are you ready to die for your people? And I said, yes, I am ready to die for them. So Orengo gave me the stark reality. He told me, fine, you will die, you'll be buried. And after a short while, you'll be forgotten, and you'll be most useless to yourself. So much so that when the ants are eating your remains, you cannot even scratch yourself. Is that what you want? or would you prefer to take a break until tensions cool down and then come back? So I told him, help me, help me, help me. So he wrote a letter to the US Embassy explaining my condition and the need for safety. The US Embassy said the time required was too short. So together with the other civil society organizations, I was put on a plane for a brief stopover in South Africa before I go to the US.
You're actually put on a
Then,
plane.
yes, yes. It was quite interesting at that time because there was this security, and at that time Kenya used to have this thing of people listed not to travel. If they reach the airport, the security authorities informed the special branch. My name was on that list.
Wow.
How I knew my name was on that? Yeah, how I knew my name was on that list? You know, contacts. You make a social contacts as a journalist. You make professional contacts, and you find you have some social contacts who can reveal very deep things for you that you cannot get officially or show you the way. So one of my social contacts worked with the other contacts, and it first of all to check whether it was safe for me to fly. So it was not safe for me to fly. So a plan was devised that I would be the last person in the plane, the very last person to enter the plane before the doors are closed.
You.
Yeah, yes, yes. So they organized also with their friends, and the person announcing over the tannoy that Argwings Odera, plane number so and so, you're late, 5 minutes. That person was also stopped from mentioning my name. The person was aware. Yeah, I was just nearby because also there used to be a lot of special branch officials operating within the airport, not just necessarily looking for me, but on a daily basis.
Okay.
So somehow through my network and friends, they managed to get me in the plane the very last moment.
Without announcing your name?
Without announcing my name. The person had been alerted, do not announce this name. Announce others, but leave this name out. Because there's a possibility somebody could hear that name and say, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I've seen this name on the bad list, bad to travel list. So when I got in the plane, and the door was closed. We were ready for takeoff, just ready for takeoff. Then the pilot announced a delay. There's going to be a short delay. So I was asking myself, what? I was nervous. I was looking at the back of the plane at the toilet. Shall I run, lock myself in there? I've known what Kenya security people do. And then, worst of all, GSU Land Rovers surrounded the plane all of a sudden. Even my contacts were alarmed. They were alarmed. Even the air hostesses of the South African Airlines, they were aware. They'd been made aware of my status. Everybody was alarmed. I was okay. But I sent such a huge presence. Then suddenly it was followed by a slick car. I saw one of my contacts rushing down the aisle towards me. And she told me, do not panic. That is the president of Burundi, also flying in the same plane with you. That's security.
So there was,
yeah.
so there was still another last person to enter. So you were the last.
Yes. Yes. There was another last person when the plane doors are closed.
So you had
that's how airplanes operate security.
Yeah. So you had this dignified flight with a president of another country.
Yes, on board, and a fugitive of another country also on board.
Yes. So was he going to South Africa also?
Yes, he was also flying.
So the first stop, it was a direct flight to South Africa.
It was a direct flight to South Africa. He was going for official functions in South Africa.
Okay.
So it was in transit.
So you flew and you arrived in South Africa. What happened when you landed?
Because we worked with our networks, I was received. My status was supposed to be just Kidogo in South Africa, there was a host who was to host me. Kidogo, all arrangements had been made, so it was a smooth landing in South Africa. Yeah, very smooth landing. And immediately I landed, I also met Jerry Eddings, the then head of Freedom Forum in South Africa, that who used to go out of its way to assist journalists in dire need. So it wasn't so bad. I met with the UNHCR. The UNHCR officers interviewed me and classified me a refugee. Then, because my visa was still on, I was supposed to move from South Africa and go to Washington. And then September 9/11 happened, and before I could leave, before I could leave for the US. And when that happened, George Bush shut down immigration indefinitely. Yeah, George Bush shut down immigration indefinitely. I was among those who had to immigrate and go, who had to be held back because George Bush had shut down immigration.
But after
So I found.
after the
yeah. Yeah, after 9/11. So I found myself almost indefinitely in South Africa, not as planned. The plan had gone awry with the September 9/11 bombing. And my host also could not accommodate me forever or indefinitely either, because they also have a life to go on. So that's when I started vying for myself, because when I met the UNHCR officer, she told me they have centers where I can find food. They have dormitory-like structures where I can sleep. But she said the infrastructure was just overwhelmed with so many desperate, needy people, old women, and mothers, early mothers. And she asked me, can't you use your ingenuity to survive and spare your space for those people? And that really reached me deep, because what I was seeing in those refugee centers, people are really desperate. So I had to figure how to sustain myself and how to accommodate myself, because now my visa had expired. And after the expiry of my visa and the US still under embargo, George Bush, with the George Bush's action, so I had to apply for asylum in South Africa with the strength of the UNHCR note. However, South Africa, the process is slow. The process is actually never completed in South Africa. You just kept pending and waiting until you give up and go, or you keep on living half a status, because at that time they did not allow us asylum seekers to work or go to school or take our children to school until our status is determined, a status that
so how long
indefinite.
Did you eventually get it, the asylum status?
No, I did not get it.
And how are you
And
surviving?
I'm the one who chose to come back, because, so first of all, I went on a campaign with the local media telling them how difficult situation is for immigrants, because there used to be this backlash against immigrants, where immigrants getting killed allegedly for stealing
work,
and
employment.
Not even employment, because immigrants are not allowed to work. They would employ those people illegally. Illegally. That's how those people would be employed. So I went to the Mail and Guardian of South Africa, and the editor said, he doesn't care about the law. The law does not make sense. He asked the same question you asked, how do you survive? So the editor told me, I'll accept stories from you and I'll pay you. It was a challenge, because I'd come from a Kenyan scene. How was I going to compete with South Africans who lived there, South African journalists? I really had to find a very unique news that even the South African journalists have never touched for it to get published. Because I did not even know who the mayor is. And, I'm just in and I'm saying I'm a journalist, award winning. So it was like starting from zero again with the Mail and Guardian. And then I also found gigs with a filmmaker, with filmmakers. In between, I would do magic shows for
Ah,
children. Yeah, in
so,
Johannesburg. Yeah,
so you learn to be a magician.
yeah. I learned to do children magic.
Okay.
Magic is
All
in a
right.
various compartments. So I was specializing in children's magic,
Mm,
where a clown's outfit is an important component of the magic.
mm,
Just looking ridiculous and doing ridiculous things.
mm,
And also just magic tricks where they go, wow,
mm.
rabbit in the hatch, those kind of a simple magic and all that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I used to do that in malls.
Mm,
And of course, you had to request for permission. I
mm,
had no problem being granted permission to do my magic tricks in the malls.
mm,
Then I'd get paid for selling trinkets and
mm,
magic balloons
mm,
and things like that. Then at other times, I would be a parking boy, parking
mm,
cars and
wow.
washing cars.
Mm.
Population was down in South Africa. So I did do quite a lot. But
Including,
at the end of the day, I met very good South Africans who are very, very supportive.
mm,
So much so that by the time I was leaving South Africa, I was living behind a car, a
mm.
well furnished house. And the reason for my coming was when Kibaki
You said you left
and Red,
behind a car. You bought a car. You had bought a car.
yeah, yes, I bought a car. I was just fine. Life was fine. I
Wow.
was, yeah, I was earning more than 100,000 per month now,
Kenya
because I was
shillings.
also because I
Mm,
was also the editor now of it was a Monsanto publication
mm,
called A Harvest.
mm.
Yeah, it was a Monsanto
So you had
publication.
risen up from just uh, a magician to a big
Uh,
editor of a big newspaper.
yes, yes. However, I was still doing my magic despite being an editor of that
Yes.
newspaper. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was given that job by Daniel Kamanga. I think you remember Daniel
The name
Kamanga.
sounds familiar.
And yes, he was working there. However, the roles he was playing, he simply had no time to run the newspaper. So that's why
Oh.
he suggested, yeah,
Oh.
if I could go for it. So our main boss was Florence Wambogo,
Mm.
who is a big time biotech engineer and
So
quite a,
so the
not a
owners
boss.
of these newspapers were Kenyans.
The main people running were Kenyans.
Oh.
However, it was a Monsanto publication for Southern Africa.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah, our my
How long did you stay in South Africa, and why did you have to leave
I,
that job and
I stayed
come back?
I stayed over two I stayed over 2 years, and
Mm.
then when I wanted to come back, I had to talk to my boss Kamanga and tell
Mm.
him, man, I'm going back to Kenya. Kamanga asked me, why? Why? And the future here is bright. This is just the beginning for you. Because I even had a Mercedes office car at my disposal. So I had leave my Volkswagen Golf candle and operate with it the way I wanted.
Mm.
So Kamanga was shocked. He asked me, why? And I told him, I'm a refugee. And Mo is now out. And Kibaki has issued a speech. And Kibaki's speech was the kind that really made me shed tears when
Mm.
he directly appealed to people who had fled Kenya, refugees, to
Mm.
come back and will not be bothered.
Mm.
I told him from what Kibaki said, I just want to go back. And then again, family reasons. And then again, we also reached an agreement with the standard. They were setting up a new team. Well, not a new team. The team was there. However, they were bringing in another more team
Mm.
to work on revamping the newspaper.
Mm.
So I'd also been approached, are you willing to come back to Kenya and work with us? And I was, yes, of course, absolutely. I mean, for a rational person, choosing Kenya over South Africa, you'd say South Africa. However, I had family issues too. My mom's health was not good. My daughter, I needed to be really nearby, also because I was like single parenting her, and quite a number of and just above that, I went to South Africa running. I was running. I did not go as a tourist. I did not go to seek a job. However, during those 2 difficult years, I somehow managed to keep my head above water.
Yeah.
And thinking about the objective of my coming back, it was Kibaki had said it is safe. Why not trust him?
So 2 years later, you found yourself back to Kenya.
Yeah, so even the UNHCR personnel, I told them I'm going back to Kenya to inform people who are working with me formally. They could not believe. They said, but your case is just a matter of time. It has been approved. You are supposed to go to the US. And I said, no, Mwai is out. Mwai was my problem. So let me just go back. I went to the US Embassy. I met Tabitha Sei. She was the ambassador who had been assigned by Kibaki. Tabitha Sei was very helpful. She gave me emergency flying documents so that nobody bothers me. I did not know those kind of things existed. Then I came back to Nairobi to work with the Standard again.
So when did you come back?
And again, it was the end of 2002.
Okay.
So I joined with David McCarley leading our team. Yeah.
You met him again.
Yeah, to revamp the paper.
Yeah.
Again, I found McCarley. I found McCarley nursing his wounds. Again, yeah, fast forward, and again he's nursing his wounds. What had happened was that they'd published a story on the Omondi Mbai killing, the constitutional, the way that person was, yes.
I remember.
Then it was the first journalist to be arrested under Kibaki's administration. And again, they were not all that easy on him. So I found him in that state, and Makali told me, you really need brave people who can go out there. We worked until around 2004, when we parted ways with the Standard. And by parting ways, it was not a happy ending at that time, because I was being forced to accept things I did not want. The personnel manager and the other senior managers told me that they wanted to cut my salary, to reduce my salary. And I said, but this is what we had agreed. If anything, I expect our salary rise. And they said, no. I accept a reduction in your salary or you retire. So I told the senior managers, I do not know how to retire. And I'm not ready to retire. I'm just too young to retire. And at some point, my retirement could haunt me in the future. Somebody will say, you've already retired. I cannot give you a job. So matters escalated until I was told, okay, if I retire, if I refuse a pay cut, then I'll be retired. And if I retire, I'll be given a specific amount of money. If I refuse to retire, I'll be summarily dismissed and I'll receive nothing. So what really irked me was the personnel manager. She was called to counsel me. And we were at I&M building. And the lady tells me, Agrwings, look outside the window, Kenyatta Avenue, down Sima's restaurant. And I look out, around 680 Hotel. And she points out, you see all those idlers? All those idlers will be happy to accept what you are being offered. Or do you want to go out there and be like them? You know, for the first time I looked and I was shaken momentarily. And I was like, what is this woman saying? Aren't those humans? And I told her, fine, take me out. I go join those people out there. She told me, you are insane. You know, you are an investigative journalist. And there are people who know you. And if you don't have the protection, if you don't have the protection of the newspaper, they could harass you. I said, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going out there. I'm going to suffer with them instead of accepting what I do not like.
Thank you for being with us until the end. Bliss Oasis Africa offers the following services: counseling and life coaching, mentorship in creative writing, publishing and consultancy, website development and digital marketing. Please visit us at our website www.blissoasis.co.ke for more information. You can also call or send us a WhatsApp message on 0722 563 544. Thank you.